So we're going to start, and this video is going to be talking about the wireframe designs. I found it a little bit difficult to start writing tickets for myself and organizing the project without having any sort of design. So while this doesn't have styling to it, it's a basic workflow, and it kind of shows how all of the pieces come together, and it really helped me organize my thoughts and organize my features, user stories, and developer tasks. This will also help a lot with scope. If you're planning out your projects, you can and you're drawing everything out and you're sizing everything and you're looking at what buttons you have, on how many routes you have, it's going to become a lot more clear how big the project is going to be and how much work it's going to take. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So each kind of row in my wireframe design is going to be a different page in my project. So I kind of have a few different workflows. I have my project workflow, which is how users would create a project, and then features within that project, and then user stories within that feature, and then developer tasks within the user stories. Okay, so that's kind of the workflow. This is going to be an application for planning out a coding project. Okay, so then also in that, in order to save people's projects, I need to have user accounts. So I also have a user account creation workflow. And as you see my wireframe designs, you kind of already can see too how my features are separated, right? So I'm going to have 3 project workflow features, which is going to be creating the projects, editing projects, and then deleting projects, right? And that's going to make up 3 weeks worth of work. Then I have 2 account features. One is going to be to create the user account, and then the other one's going to be like account maintenance. Okay, so that is kind of the other workflow. Then I also have my headers, my menu headers. So you have the menu when you are not logged in, right? You'll be able to see the login page and the create an account page. And you will be able to, if you are logged in, you can see your projects then and your account details. And that is if you don't have a profile picture uploaded. If you do have a profile picture uploaded and you were logged in, then you can see your account details, but your avatar would be there, and then your projects. So you'll kind of see as we're going through this then that I have arrows showing like the user journey throughout, right? So if I click on the login in my menu header, then I'm going to redirect to the login page. If I click on create an account, that's going to redirect to the sign up page, okay? And same with projects, redirects to projects page, account details redirects to profile page. As you kind of start drawing out your application, you also will start to see, okay, well now I need a project page and a profile page, a login page, and a sign up page, and then your features, user stories, and tasks start to write themselves. All right, so let's go through our user account creation workflow. So the idea would be you discover this planning a project application, and in order to create a project and start planning, you have to sign up. So you would go to the sign up page. Here you would fill out a form with your name, email address, username, and password, and then you can also choose a profile picture. And then when you submit, it's going to do all of the magic, but eventually redirect you to the projects page. Okay, I'll go ahead and scroll down to the project page just so you can see. So then once you sign up, it's immediately going to log you in as well, because who wants to sign up and then go log in, right? So you sign up, it logs you in on the back end, and then it redirects you to seeing your projects. Obviously, if you just signed up, you would probably only see this add a project button because you wouldn't have any projects. All right. So that is if you sign in. But let's say you go to the sign up page and you're like, but wait, I already signed up. You can click the login instead button. And as the arrow denotes, that will redirect you to the login page. The login page accepts a username and a password. And then on submit, it's going to do the magic on the back end, but ultimately it's going to redirect you to, you guessed it, your projects page, which will look like this. And since you're just logging in again, you might actually have projects up here. All right. Let's say you go to login, but you can't remember your password. Okay, so then that is when you are going to click the reset button, and that, as the arrow denotes, will open up a modal for your email address input, and then you will click send verification email, which will, if your email exists, send you an email. If it doesn't, give you some sort of generic message, because you also don't want to disclose whether or not you found an email in your database. But ultimately, let's say the email exists, you'll get a reset email password with a link in it that will log you into your profile page, hence the arrow to the profile page. The profile page is going to load your account details and have it all ready when you look at it. So if you're not logged in, you won't be able to see your profile page, right? Okay, so on your profile page, you will be able to edit your profile picture, name, email address, username, password, and you will also be able to log out, which will log you out of the system and redirect you to the login page, which is up here. Oops, no, it's right here. And then delete account will redirect you, will delete your account and all associated projects, features, user stories, tasks, and then redirect you to the sign up page. All right. So that is kind of the first workflow, which again will be about 2 weeks worth of work, user account creation and maintenance. All right, so now to the fun part of the project. So again, each row is a different page. So if you look, we only have 2 pages within this workflow. So we have /projects, which would show all of the users' projects. And then we have /projects at project ID, and that will show one specific project, that project ID, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at the workflow. So you'll have your list of projects. Blue, by the way, indicates that it's a button. So if I were to hover over this, my cursor should turn into the little pointer cursor, and then I should be able to click on any of these, right? But you would see the project name, the beginning of project description, but it will truncate if it's too long, and the project status, okay? I am going to make it that the project statuses are automatically updated based on what tasks are done. So you'll see later that'll make sense, but basically you update your progress on a task, and then it kind of goes up the line to show whether or not the project, feature, and user story are complete. Okay, so you could click on any one of these projects, and as the arrow denotes, you would then be directed to the projects page, okay? But you can also add a project. So if you click add a project, I thought it would be fun to try out some new UI components, right? So typically I use a modal, but I wanted to try out something different. So I'm going to try to have a little drop down. So I want to have the plus sign kind of spin to being an X, so that'll be like the open, and it'll also be the close, which I think will be kind of fun. And then the form and the create project button will kind of drop down. So here you can enter the project name and description, and then create button, the magic will happen, and then your new project will pop up. So that is kind of the new project creation. So you can kind of go and create as many projects as you want. And then if you want to go ahead and go into the project, go into that next level and start adding details to it, then you would click on the project, and then you are at the project page. So here you would have your project name and description from that form you filled out, but you can click on the little pencil to edit them. Another time I'm trying to not use a modal here to try to test out different features. When you click on the little pen, this turns into an input, and then you can just edit right there. When you click enter, then it will automatically save and show you the new project name or description. For now, in the current state in my minimally viable product, I am going to just keep 3 columns: to do, in progress, and done. In the future, I do think it'd be cool to add like a create column or edit the column names or something like that. But for now, I'm going to keep it simple. So the way it's going to work is you're going to have all of your features in your columns. So the features are going to be this is going to be the feature status, and it's going to just be based on the math of how many user stories are completed within that feature, which is then just doing the math on how many developer tasks are done in each user story. Because again, the only thing that you can update progress on in the current state of the project would be the developer tasks, and then everything else would kind of use math to calculate the status. So I can add a feature to my to-do, and it will have similar functionality. So that's what that green color is, where you'll have a drop down and then a form. When I fill in the name and description, I can click add feature and it will pop up in the to-do column. If I click on a feature, it will go ahead and open up a modal with my feature name and description. Again, I can edit them. And then I also have all of my user stories here. I can add a user story the same way I added a feature and a project. And I can click on the little drop-down arrow, just like I could click on the features and projects, in order to see a drop-down with the description of the user story and then all of the associated developer tasks. This kind of is where hopefully it makes sense now what I'm talking about with statuses. So this will be a select drop-down status. So right now they all say done, but you could click it, and then you would get to choose from to do and in progress. So that's why the user story says 3 out of 3, because these are all done. But if I changed one of these to in progress, this would change to 2 out of 3, and then everything else would change moving upward. All right. So you can also delete. So if you click delete project on the project page, you will get a modal that pops up warning you that this will be permanent. I wanted to keep this for deleting a project, because when you delete a project, you're deleting all the features, all the user stories, and all the developer tasks. I feel like someone could accidentally click that, and I want to make sure that they verify, like, yes, I want to delete this entire project, because right now I do not have an archive feature. That would be down the line. You can also delete a feature, which would permanently delete the user stories and tasks, and a user story deletion, which would permanently delete the story with all of its tasks. For the user task or the developer task, I just added a delete button, but since it's just a task and the task only has a name, it doesn't even have a description, it's not too much work to recreate it if you accidentally delete it. So there is no modal for that one. But that is the basic workflow for the project creation. Next, you can go to the video that is going to be for all of our API and our database routes and tables.